Hey, beautiful souls. I wanted to talk with you today about upheaval and your twin flame journey and your ascension journey because this is the part that we don't really talk about too much because it's not a lot of fun and it doesn't really feel good. But I was moving through a lot of upheaval yesterday, and what upheaval is when you go and heal and love yourself and you pour all this love into yourself, this maintenance of the core upset has to come up. What happens is when you don't feel your feelings and you stuff them right down into your core, and then they stay there until you decide to have a tantrum or you cry or you get angry or whatever it is, it will then come up. So, the difference between an upset and upheaval: upset is when something outside of you has upset you, or a conversation or something just happens in reality that creates an upset. And upheaval is just comes out of nowhere. It's just upheaving, it's leaving you. And so this can look and feel like depression. It can feel sad. It can feel just really emotional, just crying out of nowhere. Maybe anger, spouts of anger just coming up. And so I want to remind you that you are not doing anything wrong. It's actually a great thing. It's letting you know that you're doing everything right. Do you hear that alarm out there? It's like, yeah, you're doing it right. So when you are moving through upheaval, this might end up manifesting like feeling like you need to stay in bed, or just moving through some heavy feelings. So it's really important that you allow yourself self-care and that you really take care of yourself and just be very gentle and kind with yourself at that moment. Yesterday I woke up and I went to the gym. During my workout, I started crying out of nowhere. That's how I knew I was moving through some massive upheaval, because I had moved through a really deep core upset yesterday. And that upset was, my twin flame has shared with me that they're currently looking for a house, and had mentioned that once they buy this house, they would like for me and my children to move in with them. And that was a pretty profound thing to happen in my union, because on the outside it didn't look like that was going to unfold, but it was something that I was healing and moving through within myself. It was also something I was going to invite him into myself, but as I know my union really well, it just felt like that was something I wanted to allow him to approach that conversation and approach that idea, which ultimately he did, because we're one. We share the same subconscious mind. And so it came up, and I was really feeling my feelings around it, because of course I wanted to, but there was just like this feeling of like, ugh. And so when I sat with it and I looked at it, there was this fear that he was going to change his mind on me. And my coach ultimately asked me, where does that come from? Where do you get this feeling from? So I sat with it, and ultimately it came from just childhood and having a parent who wasn't biologically my parent, but they were my parent. To me, they were my parent. And just one day, they just chose to not be my parent anymore based off of their actions. And so this was a place within me that I was holding on to, where I just felt like someone would just change up on me. It didn't matter how much they cared about me or loved me. One day they were just going to change their mind on me, and I was going to be abandoned and ultimately hurt. So this feeling was coming up, and I could have easily projected it onto my twin flame, but thank God for this work, because it really helped me see that it was just a past pain and hurt that needed love at that moment. So once I gave that to myself, I felt better. But then the next morning, I'm like, why do I feel like I got hit by a bus? Well, it's because it was such a deep core wound that it had to come up. And it kind of I spent most of the day having to just move through this feeling and allowing it to be released, not attaching to it, not identifying with it, just knowing that it was being released so that I could have more love and more joy come into that space. Today, I feel fantastic. Thank goodness upheaval really only lasts usually somewhere between like a few minutes to maybe a few hours to at most a whole day. But it really depends on if you release resistance, you surrender control, and you just allow it to leave without attaching to it or identify to it. What I used to do, and I want to bring this up, is that I used to mirror the upheaval. So why do I feel bad? And then trying to mirror it. And mirroring the upheaval does not work. It will keep you in circles. It's not actually meant to be mirrored. So this is why it's so important to know the difference between upheaval and an upset. Again, upset is something that has been triggers you from something that happened outside a conversation, an action, something, and then upheaval just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like you could be fine, and then all of a sudden, sadness comes up. I experienced this one time in the car with my twin flame after having a really wonderful dinner, something that I didn't think we would do again because at one point we had gone our separate directions, but I had given our union to God. And then naturally, an occurrence came up and we ended up having dinner together, just him and I just felt so happy. And then out of nowhere, just the sadness like came up and I just started crying and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And it was upheaval. It was sadness leaving me because I had just experienced a lot of love. So the sadness had to go so that that love could relax and ground in. And so as you move through upheaval, know that you're not doing anything wrong. Again, it means that you're doing everything right. It's actually a really beautiful sign that you are healing. It does require a lot of self-care. So that means staying in bed and sleeping through the upheaval. I like to sleep through my upheaval. Maybe chilling and just watching Netflix and watching movies, wearing comfy clothes, eating good food, doing things that really comfort you and just bring you a lot of peace. I love to snuggle up in my blankie and my favorite hoodie and sweats and my favorite stuffed animal and just watch movies and just be with God and be with myself. But I do know that it's not really talked about too much, and upheaval can really make you feel like you're going crazy or you're doing something wrong. Like, I was just feeling great yesterday, but today I feel horrible. Nope, it's a great sign. If it lasts more than a day or two, then you want to definitely get some support and just ask for just some support and guidance in that space. If you have an Ascension coach, perfect. If you need support, definitely feel free to reach out to me. But ultimately, this Ascension journey is not just rainbows and sunshine and all these beautiful things happening. It's a good portion of it. But in order to call in more and to receive in more, you do have to let go of things that you may have been holding on to since childhood, even since right before birth. And so it has to come up. It has to be released. It has to be let go. And that part can feel really bad. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I just felt that it's important to know these things. It's important to know that this journey is gonna feel kind of like an up and down, up and down. There will be a time where it kind of starts to level out and you see yourself just slowly and steadily, increasingly ascending and not just like feeling like you're plummeting all the time. It does get a little bit easier, I promise. But it is important that you are aware of these things and that you are taking really good care of yourself, that you're being very gentle, very loving. If you need to go on a walk or do things that just make you feel better. I like to dance, I like to sing, but sometimes when I'm in upheaval, none of those things actually feel or sound good to me. So really finding something that is going to take care of you in that process and know that you are actually doing everything that you're supposed to be doing if you are experiencing upheaval. And the more that you move through a core block, if it's a really deep core block, the more intense upheaval will be. So like I said, I like to move through my upheaval most of the time in my sleep. I will do deep healing, and then by the time I'm done, I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I feel like I ran a marathon, and then I'm like, I am going to sleep. I am going to sleep it off, and I will feel better once I do. And another way you know that if you're in upheaval and if you're resisting letting go of the upheaval is going to be that you will start to feel resistance in this area of your body. You will feel it in your chest, in your shoulders, and your neck. I get a lot of headaches, especially at the top of my head or right on my third eye, when I am resisting letting go of something, of upheaval, of letting it just flow out. So if you're finding yourself moving through that, I like to just say, I release resistance. I let go of whatever no longer serves me. I choose for upheaval to be easy, and I naturally start to feel that pressure go away and things start to just relax. So if you need more support, definitely reach out. If you would like coaching, I shared in my last video that I am offering one free intro session, 1 hour with me. We can see if Ascension coaching is for you. If you are desiring to go deeper in your journey, having an Ascension coach has been one of the most important things for me on my twin flame journey, because there's a lot of things that I cannot see, and there's a lot of things that I would have waited on, like asking my twin flame to move in with me. But my coach had said, you know, I think we're at this point where maybe you two living together is probably the best thing for you. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if that's it. But as I moved through my upsets with her and I got really clear, I was like, it actually is. And I surrendered it, gave it to God, and then my twin flame came to me. So there's that. So it is really truly important to have a ascension coach because they can see things that you can't quite see, especially when you're in the middle of it, when you're in just the debris of things. To have someone on the outside who isn't attached to the things that you're going through are able to really see things for you and just bring light to things. You have free will, you have the choice on what you want to do in your journey, but their job is to help guide you and to support you. So if you would like to check out a 1 hour free intro session, there's going to be, I will get you a link to that. Definitely comment below so that you can get that link. I'm not going to just share it with everyone. I want to make sure that I can talk with you one-on-one before jumping in and just really making sure that like you're totally about this, because I don't want to waste my hour with just nonsense. I've had people do that before, especially when they're not really about the twin flame journey. They just want to be a hater or they just want to talk nonsense. And so getting into these sessions, I just want to make sure that you're really about moving forward in your twin flame journey. So comment below if you would like a free intro session, a free 1 hour intro session. You get one. And from there, we'll see what works best for you moving forward in your ascension journey. My goal and desire is to see everyone in harmonious union with their twin flame. Oh, that just makes my heart so happy. I just want everyone with their true ultimate lover. But other than that, I love you guys. Peace, love, and faith. Have a beautiful night, and I will see you later.